Jurassic Park. The biggest monster movie of all time. Genetically engineered dinosaurs terrorize everything in their path. It's a work of science fiction, but how much was inspired by reality? Were its characters based on real-life people?
Sam Neill plays Alan Grant, and Alan Grant is supposed to be me.
Were its terrifying predators based on real dinosaurs?
T-Rex wasn't an elephant with steak knife teeth. It was really a 10,000-pound roadrunner from hell.
Was its shocking idea influenced by real science?
A $65 million question, whether we can ever bring dinosaurs back to life. Why not?
The reality may be even more disturbing than movie fiction. This is the true story of Jurassic Park. In July 1993, Jurassic Park was unleashed. Its revolutionary dinosaurs delighted and terrorized audiences around the world. They were billed as the most accurate ever created, but just how authentic were they? The film was based on the dinosaurs created by Michael Crichton in his 1990 sci-fi classic. A warning about the consequences of tinkering with nature.
There is this idea that if we create life, we're going to be sorry because the life's going to come back and get us. And so it's a morality play.
Michael Crichton first had the idea for Jurassic Park in 1981, 9 years before the book was published. But he didn't have a realistic scientific way of bringing dinosaurs back to life until he came across the work of entomologist George Poynar. Poynar was researching how ancient fossilized amber trapped and preserved million-year-old creatures. A process he'd found while on an expedition in Denmark.
I remember lifting up this piece of amber, and I said, gee, what are those? They look like legs. Looking with a hand lens, I could see that they were attached to the body of a fly, and that was quite exciting.
Amber starts as a sticky resin from trees. Any insects that land on it become trapped. As the resin hardens, the creatures are locked inside, perfectly preserved in their very own time capsule.
Amber's been called all kinds of things, a window to the past, a time capsule. It's called that because of the organisms that it contains.
Poynar wondered if amber might also preserve bug DNA. If it could, he might be able to extract it. DNA is a genetic code, a blueprint that determines how all living creatures turn out. It's very delicate, so Poynar wasn't sure he'd find any. But in 1987, he hit pay dirt. He and his team extracted actual DNA molecules from a bee that was 25 million years old.
We were amazed when we saw DNA chromatin material in there. And this was the first record of DNA from an amber insect.
Poynar's work provided the scientific breakthrough Crichton needed to complete Jurassic Park. Here was a way to recover dinosaur DNA.
He suddenly had an idea on how he could use that information and to fit into his story on how he could get the DNA to clone the dinosaurs. And that was from the biting insects in amber. And so he used this idea in Jurassic Park.
Crichton's idea was that a biting insect would suck up dinosaur blood, and that blood would contain the DNA to rebuild a dinosaur. Amazingly, Crichton's fictitious idea is hypothetically possible.
Theoretically, it was possible to get dinosaur DNA out of a blood-sucking insect in amber. Of course, it had to be one that was greater than 65 million years old.
Poyner was keen to put the theory to the test. The dinosaurs died out 65 million years ago, so he needed to find an insect preserved in amber from before that time to have any chance of finding some dinosaur DNA. After months of searching, he got lucky.
I was looking at it and I said, oh, there's a hazy, dark object inside, under some of these layers. And so I began to peel these layers off with forceps carefully.
Poyner had found the remains of a tiny beetle-like creature called a weevil.
When I got very close to the weevil, it fell out and cracked, and tissue came out of its abdomen. And I thought, my goodness, there's some tissue there. We have to preserve that. Maybe that has some DNA.
Poyner preserved the weevil tissue in alcohol and sent it to colleagues for DNA extraction. He was shocked by the results.
We were successful, and we were able to get some DNA out of this weevil, which is then, and still is, the oldest known fossil DNA, dating back to between 125, 135 million years.
Poyner had extracted insect DNA from the time of the dinosaurs. It proved that if dinosaur DNA could be found, maybe it too could be recovered.
So many scientists were just fascinated. It shows that theoretically, it would be possible to get dinosaur DNA out of a blood-sucking insect in amber.
So far, dinosaur DNA has never been found inside an insect. DNA is very delicate, and inside an insect's gut, it's quickly destroyed. For the moment, Jurassic Park's dinosaurs will remain a digital dream. Or will they? Because the man who inspired one of the film's main characters is shaking up the dinosaur world. Jurassic Park is one of the biggest grossing movies of all time. Its combination of thrills, spills, and marauding dinosaurs delighted critics and audiences alike. Much of how the dinosaurs behaved in Jurassic Park comes from digs here in Montana. America's biggest dinosaur graveyard. And this man, paleontologist Jack Horner, is the real-life inspiration for the movie character Dr. Alan Grant.
You know what this is? It's a dinosaur egg.
Sam Neill plays Alan Grant, and Alan Grant is supposed to be me.
Like his Jurassic Park alter ego, Horner's a bit of a maverick. He believes dinosaurs were more advanced creatures than many people think.
What'd you find, Becky?
Just a little cross-section of eggshell in this chunk right here.
He is a visionary. He's very passionate about dinosaurs, about what we can learn from the past. And he has the strong driving personality that pulls people along with him.
Horner has been digging up dinosaur remains for the last 40 years. Some of his most important discoveries have been unearthed here, at a site known as Egg Mountain.
T-Rex is one of the most important dinosaur sites in the world because it preserves a dinosaur ecosystem, and it preserves it through time.
Egg Mountain was full of dinosaurs' nests. Clear evidence of a thriving dinosaur community with families and babies. The discovery of many nests in one place rocked the world of paleontology.
We have 3 nesting horizons on Egg Mountain. So we know that the dinosaurs nested, they went away, they came back, they nested again, they went away, they came back and nested again, at least 3 times.
The colony of nests revolutionized our understanding of dinosaur behavior.
There's a piece right there. And there's another little piece right next to it. Just little black flecks. And people had thought that, like other reptiles, the dinosaurs had just laid their eggs and abandoned them. But what we discovered here was not only did they lay their eggs and probably guard their eggs, but they also, when the babies hatched out, they were good parents.
Dinosaurs were clearly much more intelligent, more advanced creatures than previously thought.
We were finding the first evidence of dinosaur social behaviors, that dinosaurs cared for their young, that they lived in colonies, that they traveled in herds, things that nobody had ever known before, because people had thought of them as just sort of big, stupid reptiles.
And Jurassic Park was first to show this complex social behavior.
They do move in herds.
In the movie, Alan Grant's seeing the dinosaurs moving in herds and acknowledges that he was right. So, same thing I would do.
Today, Horner's work is still just as controversial. He's fascinated by the idea of bringing dinosaurs like T-Rex back to life from DNA. In 2000, he made a giant leap towards this goal.
The year 2000 was good for T-Rexes. We found 5 of them. One of them was found in a very, very remote area of eastern Montana where there were no roads.
Because of its remote location, the only way to get the T-Rex out was by helicopter.
Our field crew chief packed up these 2 legs in a plaster jacket, but the helicopter couldn't lift it. It was too heavy. And so we had to literally break it in 2. And when we did that, we broke through one of the femurs.
This turned out to be a stroke of luck when Horner sent some of the bone to molecular paleontologist Mary Schweitzer. In her lab, she removed minerals from one of the pieces, and in doing so, she discovered something truly remarkable. She found dinosaur soft tissue, including blood vessels.
I felt like everyone else that if you remove the mineral from dinosaur bone, you'd have nothing left. When the mineral was all gone, and there was still tissue there, and it just kind of went sprawling.
Schweitzer was looking at collagen, a structural protein that gives bones flexibility and strength. It had survived for 68 million years, protected from the elements deep inside the fossilized bone. It was a mind-blowing discovery.
I did not sleep for 3 weeks. I didn't. It was like Christmas every single day that I went into the lab. We were making amazing discoveries every day, and it was so exciting. I know that very few people get the chance to experience that in their scientific careers, and I had it for, well, I still have it actually, so it's very, very exciting for me.
In total, Schweitzer extracted 7 different T-Rex proteins. Proteins do not contain DNA, but their survival suggests DNA could be present in the T-Rex bones. Today, the technology to extract it doesn't exist. But in the future, it may be possible.
I think that we may be able to extract DNA from dinosaur tissue in dinosaurs that are exceptionally preserved like this one when the technology catches up with what we want.
But what would they really look like, and how would they behave? The answer is more terrifying than even the movie Jurassic Park portrayed. New computer technology made Jurassic Park's dinosaurs the most lifelike ever created.
It's so vivid. Here's the results of many people working for a long time in many ways. Scientific discoveries, lots of clues. There it is, all together in brilliant color.
The film also portrayed dinosaur behavior in a new light. In the past, movie dinosaurs were slow-moving reptiles, a bit like giant lizards. But in Jurassic Park, they were fast-moving, athletic creatures. This new take on dinosaurs was inspired by the work of radical paleontologist Bob Barker.
I was very impressed with the way the movie seized the excitement of science in this fantasy world. But by doing it in this fictional story, they brought in all of these threads of modern science.
The movie's dinosaurs were inspired by Barker's theory that dinosaurs were not cold-blooded like modern-day reptiles, such as lizards or alligators, creatures that rely on the sun to be active.
Cold-blooded is a great condition for being a little animal that scurries after bugs or goes up a tree after bugs. But if you want to be big, be out there in the environment day and night, fighting and protecting yourself, that's when you have to be hot-blooded.
Warm-blooded creatures don't need the sun to move around. They can be active pretty much all the time, even at night, when it's colder. Cold-blooded creatures can only be active when the sun has warmed them up. Barker believes that because dinosaurs dominated the planet, they must have been warm-blooded.
As long as dinosaurs existed, we furry mammals were the understory of evolution. Dinosaurs were superior to us in every known habitat. You have to conclude that. Therefore, to assume dinosaurs were cold-blooded is idiotic.
In 1986, Barker published his theory in the book The Dinosaur Heresies.
The essence of the dinosaur heresies is this. Dinosaurs were not cold-blooded, dinosaurs were not stupid, dinosaurs were not stuck in swamps, dinosaurs were not slow. That was what the book was about.
Barker's theory inspired Steven Spielberg. His dinosaurs would not be slow-moving and cold-blooded. They'd be fast-moving, warm-blooded predators.
If dinosaurs were cold-blooded, then a T-Rex in the cold rain would just be standing there, unable to move, unable to think, its body drained of the necessary heat to make the body machinery work.
Jurassic Park's T-Rex didn't just stand still. It went on a rampage. But did the filmmakers go too far? In one famous scene, T-Rex chases a Jeep at around 40 miles an hour.
The giant meat-eating dinosaurs like T-Rex, they weren't slow, plodding critters. T-Rex wasn't a bipedal elephant with steak knife teeth. It was really the 10,000-pound roadrunner from hell.
Hollywood probably did exaggerate T-Rex's top speed. To understand exactly how fast it could run, scientists study its fossilized bones. One of the largest collections can be found here at the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Alberta, Canada.
What we're looking at here is a skeleton, a disarticulated skeleton of T-Rex. These types of skeletons allow us to know a vast amount about these animals and what they were capable of in terms of movement.
The skeletons have shown that the reason dinosaurs like T-Rex could move fast was that they walked and ran on their toes, like modern-day animals.
All you have to do is think about deer or dogs, which also walk around on their toes. They're very, very good at running with a very strong fore and aft motion.
But T-Rex was much, much bigger than today's creatures.
The hind limbs on these animals are very massive, and they're constructed to do two things. They're basically, in many ways, very columnar, so they can withstand just the basic weight, the multi-tons that the animal is carrying around. But they're also capable of moving the animal at relatively quick speeds.
But not as fast as T-Rex moved in Jurassic Park. Recent analysis suggests that it ran at about 10 miles an hour. But don't think you'd be safe just because it moved slowly. If it caught you, T-Rex had an awesome bite.
What we have here are a whole host of meat-eating dinosaur teeth. This comes from a tyrannosaurid, an animal that has a skull that's certainly greater than 1 meter in length.
T-Rex's teeth were designed to inflict maximum damage.
When the animal is attacking its prey, it's got to push that tooth into that flesh. So these animals have adapted their teeth in such a way that the steak knife-like cutting edge, when the tooth is first making contact with the tissue down here, is in one position, but by the time the tooth has penetrated deeper and deeper into the flesh, the cutting edge has shifted its position from here to here.
As T-Rex bites down on its prey, the cutting edge of its teeth twist, tearing massive holes. The bite was lethal and pretty messy.
These animals probably wouldn't have had that really pristine, clean jaws and mouths that we're used to seeing in our depictions. They probably would have really blood-encrusted snouts.
Jurassic Park suggested you could avoid getting bitten by keeping still.
Don't move. Can't see us if we don't move.
By not moving, you had a better chance of staying alive. The film was close, but they didn't get it entirely right.
We know that if we stand perfectly still, a lot of animals can't see us. I mean, they don't recognize us as a threat. So chances are pretty good, a dinosaur wouldn't notice us either if we were perfectly still.
It's thought that, like many modern animals, T-Rex detected movement. So anything static would blend into the background. But even with T-Rex's poor eyesight, if it was hunting you, you'd still be in trouble. Because it had another weapon in its arsenal, an incredible sense of smell.
The biggest nerve in a T-Rex brain is the one going to the sense of smell. It's gigantic, it's about that big, like fire hose. The main sense was a sense of smell. That T-Rex might not have seen the kids, but it could have smelled them. It could have smelled every single character in the room and all of the sound men and extras and the guys with the commissary cart with the sandwiches. When your sense of smell is that good, you can record 100,000 individuals. So the T-Rex had a terrible sinus infection in Jurassic Park 1. That's why it didn't smell the kids.
T-Rex wasn't the only predator in Jurassic Park. Just as deadly were the raptors. Lethal killing machines that hunted in packs. The movie got it right in portraying them as vicious predators. But it got it wrong in what they looked like. They should have had feathers, like birds. When Steven Spielberg was casting dinosaurs for Jurassic Park, he wanted another deadly predator to go with T-Rex. He decided to combine two different dinosaurs called Deinonychus and Velociraptor.
In the movie Jurassic Park, Steven liked the name Velociraptor, but he liked the size of Deinonychus. Deinonychus is bigger. Velociraptor's, that tall. I mean, hardly anything to it. But Deinonychus is the size of a person. And so Steven decided to use the size of Deinonychus and the name of Velociraptor.
Although different species, Deinonychus and raptors come from the same branch of the dinosaur tree.
This is Deinonychus, the original kickboxer from Montana. And what excited us was this killing claw. The inner claw on the hind foot is sharp as a box cutter and curved with a strong attachment for a muscle for flexing. And this claw could pivot over a wide range so the animal leaps up and strikes and rips. But there's more. The teeth of Deinonychus are surprisingly small. They're steak knives, but they're tiny steak knives. And a quick-acting jaw, snap, 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 snap. It's a grab, kick, snap.
Deinonychus put these deadly weapons to lethal use.
Deinonychus has what we call recurved claws, and animals with recurved claws are climbers. And I think Deinonychus actually scaled its prey. It would catch up to something and jump on and just climb on and start eating. I would rather be in a room with 3 tigers and a lion than one little Deinonychus, because I know that the tigers and the lion will kill me before they eat me.
It wasn't just the sharpness of its claws that made Deinonychus so vicious.
Here's a kickboxing dinosaur with enormous capacity of 3-dimensional movement. These things could leap up, strike, penetrate, and cut. Pound for pound, the most dangerous dinosaur ever to have evolved.
The first Deinonychus discovered were found in a group of 4. This suggested they were an organized species, probably pack hunting at the time of their death.
Let's have our pack attack from 2 sides. 2 raptors on one side, 2 on the other. They can cut off retreat. They're not biting to kill. The teeth are small. What they're doing is snapping, grabbing, and kicking. One blow wouldn't kill the prey, but a slash from the left, and then a slash from the right, and a slash from the front, and a slash from the back. You're producing long cuts, which would cause trauma and bleeding. The prey is down, and then the 4 raptors jump on top and finish it off.
All the other members of the raptor family hunted in packs.
The raptor family is a tight-knit group of species, sort of like dogs today, coyotes and wolves and foxes and domestic dogs, different varieties, built to the same general plan. That's like raptors. They are on average, the smartest, fastest, most maneuverable dinosaurs with the most complex choreography.
Even the smallest raptor, Bambiraptor, which stood less than a foot high, was very mobile and lethal. It was also very intelligent.
This chap is the most complete skeleton of a little raptor ever found in North America. Now, what excites people about raptors in general are a couple of things. Number one, brain fit right in there. This is one smart dinosaur. Jurassic Park, the movie, did not exaggerate much in showing raptors being smart and manipulating things with their fingers.
In Jurassic Park, raptors were accurately portrayed as smart hunters. But the movie got what they really looked like wrong. they were missing one vital feature, something they share with their closest relatives, the birds.
Absolutely, positively, raptors had feathers. So if you imagine a live Deinonychus, it would look like a kickboxing killer turkey, not a naked lizard. Jurassic Park gave it the standard traditional dinosaur skin.
We can see the descendants of these feathered dinosaurs every time we look up at the sky.
But you never look at birds the same way.
Birds are dinosaurs. That's the only branch still alive today. But the essence of being a bird is being a dinosaur.
The link between birds and dinosaurs was first spotted in 1868 by Victorian biologist Thomas Henry Huxley. He noticed they both had similar ankles and long bony tails. These features are seen in a creature that lived 145 million years ago. It's called Archaeopteryx, and it's the oldest known bird.
This is Archaeopteryx, identified as the first bird. It is also one of the earliest dinosaurs. The features of special interest are the wrists, the very long fingers, 3 of them, each with a very sharp claw, and a strong claw on the second toe for leaping up and kicking with. And then the lower pelvic elements have been pushed backward so it could jump and twist and literally dance. And finally, of course, long bony tail, connected by muscles to the hind leg. 92% of this animal is dinosaur, and yet, this is a bird.
Preserved in the stone are the outlines of feathers. It's a bird and a feathered dinosaur. When legendary paleontologist John Ostrom compared Archaeopteryx and Deinonychus skeletons in the 1970s, he confirmed the link between raptors and birds.
The dinosaur-bird link wasn't really confirmed until John Ostrom compared Deinonychus to Archaeopteryx, and basically show that there were more characteristics shared between birds and Deinonychus than birds shared with any other animal.
Joint by joint, bone for bone, Deinonychus is just a big, buffed-up Archaeopteryx. All of these raptors are that close to birds, that close.
Now, modern-day birds are the key to bringing real dinosaurs back to life. And the chance to make Jurassic Park a reality. Today, dinosaurs are all around us. They are the birds.
Birds are dinosaurs, but birds don't look like dinosaurs. Birds have a short tail. They have wings. They don't have any teeth.
Today, most birds look nothing like dinosaurs. So it's hard to believe they are related. But look closely at an emu, and you can see the similarity.
I think emus are the best things to look at because their foot structure is very similar. If you look at an emu walking through mud or something, they leave dinosaur footprints. It's easier for us to see the relationship is because they're big, they have the 3-toed foot, they look kind of dinosaurian.
But not all the similarities between birds and dinosaurs are visible to the naked eye. At McGill University in Montreal, evolutionary biologist Hans Larsen is studying these hidden connections to see if they hold the clue to bringing dinosaurs back to life.
Birds are descended from dinosaurs, and because they're descended from them, they have a long history entrenched with them, and so that history is part of their genetic makeup as well.
To discover how dinosaurs might be engineered from birds, Larson is going to recreate dinosaur features using chicken embryos. He's already made some remarkable progress in 12-day-old embryos like this one.
It turns out that in early development, there are some signatures of dinosaurian anatomy coming out. Birds do have 3 fingers, so not fused together into a blocky wing, but they're actually separated fingers. They even have vestigial claws on the end. The tail is much longer. They even have little flashes of the early development of teeth.
Larson realized these early developments represented the chicken's ancient dinosaur anatomy. Dinosaur features that are normally lost at the embryo stage. If Larson could manipulate their development, perhaps they wouldn't be lost and would grow into full dinosaur features.
The work we're doing in my lab on chick embryos, and here's a chick embryo, is to establish first what the normal developmental pattern is inside them in terms of developing the skeleton, the muscles, the nerves, and so forth, and then seeing what kinds of genes are expressed within them to guide that development.
Larson focused his efforts on the early development of a chicken's tail to see if it possessed ancestral links to its prehistoric past.
Early in development, we've managed to find now about 22 vertebrae in developing normal chick embryos. This is a far greater number than the vertebrae in an adult bird tail, any bird tail. It's not a full dinosaurian tail by any means, but at least it's more than what birds normally have.
As the chick develops, it loses its primitive dinosaur tail. The vertebrae fuse, leaving just 5 or 6. This means that even though the chicken loses its dino tail, after 150 million years of evolution, it still has the ability to grow one.
It means they haven't lost it. And by not losing it after all these millions of years, there probably is a relatively straightforward switch to get it back going again.
Larson knew that if he could find the switch, he might be able to create fully formed chickens with long dinosaur tails. He implanted the embryos with different proteins. After several attempts, he managed to add several additional vertebrae onto the chicken's tail.
We're pushing the bounds of tail development by adding on a few more vertebrae. By a few, I only mean about 2 or 3 more. What we can't do is break that limit yet, but a goal that we're working toward is to grow it long enough to be similar to that of a dinosaur tail. Then we're getting into grounds where we are likely rescuing dinosaur anatomy inside a modern bird.
Larson's work is at the cutting edge of science. As his research progresses, he may be able to recreate many other dinosaur features.
What we're working on in the tail is possible in theory to extend into other anatomies, like the feathers, like teeth. I think once we solve the problem for one anatomy, we'll move to the next one, and there is no end of anatomy to work on.
It may eventually be possible to create an entire dinosaur out of a chicken. But Larson doesn't think this will happen anytime soon.
We would be hard-pressed to create the entire anatomy. It's so complex, and to do that, we would have to actually understand the entire genome of dinosaurs. However, we could at this stage select particular pieces of anatomy, things like the tail, or the arm, the wing, teeth, feathers, and see if we can rescue those or transform those back into a dinosaurian anatomy. I think if we start there, we'll have a better idea where we might end up.
The idea of creating a dinosaur has captured Larson's imagination.
The creation of an entire dinosaur will be an amazing feat, but I think we always have to keep in mind that it's still a bird, and so it would only be mimicking the anatomy of a dinosaur.
In the future, it may be possible to recreate many different extinct creatures. But does this idea, the inspiration behind Jurassic Park, have any real value? Or is it just scientists playing God? It's not just in the movies that man is messing with nature. Bringing extinct species back to life is now becoming a reality. In the future, we may have real Jurassic Parks.
I think Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park will become reality one day in many ways. It won't be done exactly the way he thought it would be done, but it will be done.
The $65 million question is whether or not we can ever bring dinosaurs back to life. Why not?
Jurassic Park's author, Michael Crichton, was worried about playing with nature. Even the man who inspired much of the movie has his doubts about bringing dinosaurs back from the grave.
We know from Jurassic Park, you make a dinosaur, as soon as you get it made, they conspire and they eat you.
Should scientists tamper with nature? It's a question at the forefront of science and echoed in Jurassic Park.
Scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
If we can do it, the famous Jeff Goldblum line, should we? Just because we have the ability to do it, should we really do it? And I think there you have to ask the question, why? Do you want to recreate a dinosaur so you can see what it looked like? Is there any benefit to recreating a dinosaur in today's world? Why would you want to go down that road?
Some scientists are already heading in this direction and manipulating nature. But just how far should they go?
To me, there's really no justification for trying to regrow a dinosaur because most of the people that you ask say, I want to do it because it's cool. But I don't think that's justification for messing with our ecosystem and environment like that.
Recreating dinosaurs, like in Jurassic Park, may have little scientific value. But some of the new technology could be useful to humankind. We might create artificial life that could solve some of the problems we face on Earth right now, like environmental disasters.
Artificial life is beginning to happen right now, and it's going to benefit humankind. We can create organisms that will eat oil spills. This is a big thing that people have thought about doing. We can create organisms that will do anything we can imagine.
These artificial bugs could be engineered to produce fuel that would help us tackle climate change.
We have a problem in terms of our energy use, and the problem is that we depend upon fossil fuels. We burn them to get energy, and that releases carbon dioxide. With synthetic life, we can overcome all of these problems. We can create organisms that will directly take light from the sun in the most efficient way possible and turn that light into a form of energy. And you can replace all the fossil fuels this way.
However, the idea of creating new artificial bugs still worries some scientists. They fear that there may be unpredicted consequences from tampering with nature.
Scientists play God all the time when they mess with nature. I mean, we're very short-sighted as a species, and I think the long-term ramifications of messing with nature are pretty horrific. Our ecosystem is very delicate, and it is very balanced. And when you start messing with the balance, you don't know the long-term outcome.
Who knows if we will ever be able to recreate dinosaurs like in Jurassic Park. But the movie did achieve one major thing. It made science cool and opened many people's eyes to the possibilities of science and technology.
We owe an enormous amount to the book Jurassic Park and the movies Jurassic Park because it put electricity into the classroom. Not just about dinosaurs, but about DNA, pack hunting, the size of the brain, the shape of the claws. And good art has always done that. The great dinosaur movies have always increased scientific literacy in a fantastic way. And yes, Jurassic Park did it and continues to do it through the medium of film in a beautiful way.
We may never see herds of dinosaurs marching across the plains like in Jurassic Park. But the movie has reminded us that dinosaurs are still all around us today, up in the air. Because birds are living dinosaurs, the true descendants of the fearsome raptors from Jurassic Park.